and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to explain how to do what I call sequential lifted increases. It's where I take 2 stitches and do 2 sequential lifted increases and turn them into 4. I use it for cable flare compensation. For example, at the beginning of this, I added 2 stitches at the base of each one of these cables so that there is no flaring out here. I'm going to have an upcoming video on decreasing the same at the top. Right after this one, it'll be attached over in this corner if you want to watch it. This is the same thing in color. So we started with 2 stitches and turned them into 4. And it looks like a cable crossing right there at the beginning. And this is the decrease at the end. So here we have a little swatch. Let me make it bigger. And I'm going to set it up. I've just got my stitches cast on. I'm going to set it up to do the first row. So for each one of those 4 stitch cables, I'm going to start with 2 knits. So I'm on the wrong side row, so I'm making the 2 knits. And I'm going to do a right leaning cable and a left leaning cable so you can see both ways. I use the sequential lifted increases for both. I have another video on doing sequential lifted increases from purl stitches, which I'll put over here in this corner at the end. So you can look at those if you want. So now we have 2 knits right here. That's the base of our cable. And here's the 2 knits, the base of the second cable. So the first one, we're going to do sequential right lifted increases. Now normally when you do a lifted increase, you go down to the stitch below the one on the needle and you come from the back to the front, lift this up onto the needle and you knit it, right? That's how you make a lifted increase. For sequential lifted increases, and lifting that left leg is the same thing as just lifting it through the back of the stitch, but we're just on the, sorry, I'm calling that a left leg. It's the right leg. This is a right lifted increase. So it's the same thing as picking it up through the back. So I'm going to pick it up through the back, and I'm going to pick up the next one right next to it also that's behind this second stitch. I'm going to put both of these on the tip of the left needle, and I'm going to knit them. I've just made 2 sequential right lifted increases. And now I'll knit the stitches on the front. So this is the base of our cable, and it's going to be like a left leaning cable crossing. Now let's do one that would lean to the right. Both of these are in association with a pillow that I'm doing that has this stitch pattern in it. You'll find it on Ravelry. It's called Unity, and it'll be linked down below the video. Okay. If we want the cable to lean to the right, then we want to do left lifted increases. So we'll knit the stitches first. Now normally when we would do a left lifted increase, we would lift this up and knit through the back, right? We're going to do the same thing. Lift that up and we're just going to come over to the neighboring stitch, 1 stitch over, and lift it up also. And then I'm going to knit these 2 stitches through the back. So this is a sequential left lifted increase. Now I'm going to work back the next row and show you what these look like, but I'll stop the camera for just a minute and come back after I knitted that row. Okay, so actually I worked more than 1 row. I went up and did the cable crossing above it. So this is a left leaning cable crossing, and we did the right lifted increases to create a left leaning faux cable crossing at the beginning. This is a right leaning cable crossing, and here we did left lifted increases and made a faux right cable crossing. Isn't that cool? I'll also put a link to a video over here on making tidy cables. These are what I call tidy cables versus not so tidy cables down here where you get the big stitches to the left. Nice up here, big stitches down here. So I'll put a link to this video as well. Okay, so come back in a few minutes and you can watch the video over here on how to finish this up at the top. Bye-bye.